Hello and welcome. I'm Mona Silesia from Embrace Excellence, and I'm delighted to have with me today Sonraya Grace. Sonraya and I met, I think it was 2015, at a Creative Women in Business event, and during that time I had a wonderful experience of doing a meditation at a meeting. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about Creative Women in Business, please?
Yeah, so Creative Women in Business I set up in 2013. I'd moved down to the area from Surrey, and I was in a cafe. I ended up talking to two other entrepreneurs who didn't know each other, and we had this amazing conversation, and I suddenly had this light bulb moment of actually, wow, really women need to connect. There's just a sense of women aren't islands. They need to be able to support each other, empower each other and motivate and inspire.
Wonderful.
And having a group, so I had this, it was literally in that moment, and I got the name of the group in that moment. So it was a bit like a lightning inspiration.
Oh, that's amazing. So
Yeah.
you then, I know you've gone down a path which is more the spiritual side.
Yes.
And do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so, well, if I wind back the movie of my life to back in the 1990s, I was working in the corporate field up in London, and I was in the human resources field, and I made a change to work in training and development and specialise.
Right.
And I went on a team event, and the consultant there, it was an amazing kind of experience where they were asking some really simple but very important questions, and one of the key questions was, what do I want personally in my life? And for me that was like a key that opened up like Pandora's box.
Wow.
Because it brought up all my childhood feelings of dissatisfaction, of sadness and grief, where I didn't feel I did get what I want because of just the way my family, you know, they had best interests at heart, but because of their upbringing, often things get passed down.
Yes.
So I then went on this journey of self-discovery, having lots of support and personal development to release and let go and heal that emotion, and through that process I became to know more who I was and what I wanted, and was able then to think about choices and what I actually wanted in life.
So you were able to find Sonraya Grace.
Yeah, that was a bit further along.
Okay.
But that's
We'll
a different
come to that.
story.
So I know healing was where
Yes.
the path you followed.
Yes.
And at a meeting that we had at the Creative Women in Business,
Yes.
I was taken, because I know you haven't seen this for a while,
No, wow.
but
yes.
I did it, I think, in 2015
Yes.
with you. And
Yes.
if you can see, I'll take this up here, what I had in the meditation was this triangle with this eye in it, and then I had this lotus flower
Yes.
kind of behind it, and then swirling around it
Yes.
was like DNA.
Yes.
And that was an amazing meditation for me, and I still keep this,
Yes.
and it is very powerful for me.
Wow. So
So-
that's lovely to get feedback, because you never know when you, whatever you're doing, how you touch somebody and what actually is facilitated at that at that point. And I remember we were doing it about bringing your vision in
That's right.
from your higher self, and
And one of the words that came through, which quite surprised me, was embryo.
yeah.
But I find
Yes.
that it's recurring, that I have these
Yes.
ideas that come along that I
Yes.
then go and work on.
Yes.
And so it's like a repetitive word for me, but that's
Yes.
been a hugely significant meditation.
Well, in a way, the embryo is where the beginning, the seed of all our inspiration that then can grow and gestate. And that really fits in how I work very much with the earth and her rhythms, and how she moves through death and rebirth in that ongoing spiral.
Well, that's really...
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more, because I know that you do, you've got more specific work that you do, and I know
Yes.
you do retreats and workshops. So
Yes.
tell me I'm thinking about the masculine and feminine
Yes.
that you've been talking about. So if you
Yes.
want to tell our viewers a little
Yes,
bit about that.
yeah. So, because of my own journey, I've done lots of inner work and continue to pursue my own personal development. And I find, because, you know, energies are always moving, always getting challenged in life, and so emotions come up and need to be cleared. And what I found through my own journey and experience, I've developed my connection with shamanism, which is about having one foot in this world and one foot in the spirit world. But that is very much about looking at your ancestral lineage, what stories and beliefs and patterns are passed down from your mother and father. Some of them will be wonderful wisdom that really work for you, but there will be other things, because of their conditioning,
Right.
that is actually not helpful. So I find I do that for myself, and I help others really release and uncover some of those beliefs where they have felt stuck. And amazingly, it releases that in their own life, but it also affects the lineage going back, but also your future with your children's children.
So you're addressing the past, but also the future.
Exactly.
And releasing whatever blocks are there.
Yes.
That sounds fascinating.
And it's deep work. It takes a lot of courage and strength to do that, but it's just so rewarding, because you feel so much more at peace and centred and have more self-belief.
Now, besides all this wonderful work that Sonraya does, you also have a family, don't you? Tell us a little bit about that.
And families are so important and very close to my heart. So I have Paul, my husband. Unfortunately, he has been working in London while we're down in Paul, and comes back at the weekends. So it's been a very busy life.
So his eye is fine now, because he had a...
Well, yes, he's recently had an emergency eye operation, so he's still recovering.
Oh, that's
but
good
it's
to know.
quite interesting. He's now making changes. Things are going to change.
Wow.
I can't say much about that at the moment, but there's always a silver lining. And we have 2 children. We have Ben and Louise. They're 14 and 17. So Ben's coming into his GCSEs and Louise her A-levels. So, and families are, they're always really rewarding, of course, seeing them grow. But they're also, we recognise, they're our greatest challenge.
Yes, that's
but
true.
It's been my greatest teacher, actually, because if you can take a moment to look at their behaviour and anything that's really troubling them, or you've had difficulties in your relationship, it's kind of taking a moment to look at how that may be reflecting or mirroring back what's going on for yourself, and maybe something from your own childhood that you didn't deal with. And that's been my learning with both the children, which
So
has
that's
been
so
great.
because your children can also be the lessons that we learn as parents.
Most definitely.
What a wonderful.
And because also they're
information to share.
evolving. They're more evolved actually when they come in.
Yes.
Because we do grow emotionally and spiritually each generation.
Yes.
And so we need to listen to them and see what they have got to teach us. Yeah.
That sounds really wisdom. You're the wise woman. Going on from that, I know that you, besides doing healing and the spiritual side, you also have a shamanic
Yes, I've touched
interest.
on that, didn't
Yes.
I? Yeah, so that I came into shamanism because that was all part of my personal development, and I found as you follow your heart and your calling, you meet people and you're drawn to people, and then you realise you need to work with them.
True.
Because they have something to offer.
Yes.
And that's what it was for me. So shamanism, I work with a drum, So I have this amazing drum that connects with the pulse of the earth, and the drum helps change your brain waves. So it goes from more in line with the plant and animal kingdom, so it lowers your brain waves so you can relax. And we go on a journey that connects with your spirit world. So we can journey into the unconscious to work with those mother ancestral patterns, to connect with your spirit guides and your power animals. People are very interested in their power animals, because animals have a spirit, and if you look at how they behave, you've got much to learn from them. And they come in these journeys to offer guidance, and people have a lot of deep healing during those sessions.
What interesting. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that, going on this. So that's when you do your retreats and
Yes, I do a monthly shamanic group, which is local in the evening. I do one-to-one works. And then going back to the feminine, I run a 9-month programme to empower women to really come into their authentic self.
Right.
To really develop their self-belief and self-love and acceptance. And what is lovely, because it's a journey over 9 months, it's the perfect gestation to really go through a rebirth of themselves.
And there's me with embryo, and they
Yes, I know! Oh my word! Yeah, I love that synchronicity.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, I need to ask you, for our viewers out there, have you got a tip you can share with them?
Well, I think life is so busy, it's really important to make sure you have time for you. So particularly if you have a busy job or a family, is to always make time daily to come back to connect with you, whether that's walking in nature and communing and feeling really grounded, or just sitting quietly, connecting in with your breath, but also your grounding and rooting is really important, and connecting with your higher self to bring in that infinite consciousness and wisdom that is available to you. So just making time for you is most important. Fill your cup up, you'll be able to deal with demands around you so much more easily, I assure you.
Wonderful advice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Sonraya Grace.
Thank you. Bless you. Thank you.